Namaste students. Today we have come to another session, that is breathing and exchange of gases. That is nothing but the respiration. So this is the second chapter in human physiology. So you might be knowing that in the human beings, where the last after the birth of the individual, the last organ system which will start to function is nothing but the respiratory system. Okay, it is the last functioning organ. So that is the respiratory system. So regarding to the breathing and exchange of gases, first we'll see what do you mean by respiration. Respiration, so there is a difference in the breathing as well as in the respiration. Breathing we can just tell inhalation as well as the exhalation. So whereas the respiration is a process where exchange of oxygen from atmosphere. From the atmosphere, oxygen is exchanged with the carbon dioxide which is produced by our body cells. Where carbon dioxide will be produced in our body cells, so that will be released out, and the atmospheric oxygen that will be inhaled. So that is known to be the respiration. So in the human physiology, each and every concept is known to be the interconnected concept. What connection we have here? So in the case of digestion, so you have studied digestion in the previous classes. So digestion, we have seen that after the process of digestion there is the absorption of food. So here for the absorption of food, one of the very important component is nothing but oxygen. If whatever the food which is digested, if it has to absorb, there should be oxygen. From where we are getting oxygen? Oxygen will not be produced in our body. Oxygen we are getting by the process of respiration. Now, in the process of respiration, what are the organs which are included are known to be respiratory system. What do you mean by respiratory system? It is a system consisting of organs which is mainly involved in a process of respiration. Now, each and every organism, so here oxygen exchange of gases is one of the very important process which is seen in almost all the organisms. So we will see what are the different respiratory organs seen in different organisms. First and foremost is the general body surface, where body surface by the process of diffusion, it is mainly acting as a respiratory organ. Okay, for example, in multicellular organisms such as amoeba, paramecium, as well as the members of Coleoptera, as well as the members of flatworms, these are mainly having a body surface which will function as a respiratory organ. Next, the second one is a skin, where the moist skin, or which is also known as cutaneous respiration. Respiratory organ is skin and the process, and that is termed as cutaneous respiration. This is mainly seen in earthworm as well as the leech. Earthworm and the leech. So you might have seen that earthworm is normally found in our free fields, especially in those fields on the sides or the corners of the field where there is more moisture. Why they need moisture? Because they want a moist skin, through that oxygen will be absorbed. There is an absorption of oxygen through the moist skin. That is cutaneous respiration. And next we will move on to the gills or the bronchial respiration. Almost all the aquatic organisms, including we have our fishes, we have aquatic arthropods, all those members are having a structure called gills for the process of respiration, and that respiration is called bronchial respiration. Almost aquatic organisms such as fishes, aquatic arthropods, they mainly have gills for the process of respiration, and that is called bronchial respiration. And next is about the tube feed. So in the last animal kingdom chapter I have explained starfish. It is mainly consisting of tube feed. They have a water vascular system. In the water vascular system there is a presence of structure, and that is known to be tube feed, where tube feed will help in a process of respiration. Next is a tracheal system. So most of the insects are showing tracheal system of respiration. There is a presence of trachea. How we have a trachea in our respiratory tract? There is a presence of trachea. With that, these also consisting of exterior opening called spiracles. There is also presence of exterior opening called spiracle. So through the spiracle and then it will enter into a trachea. By that way there is a process of exchange takes place. Okay. Then we have a book lungs and book gills. Book lungs, they are not lungs actually. Book lungs refers to where a lung-like structure which is arranged in the layers. Book lungs. Okay. Which is mainly seen in arachnid. Arachnids are these arthropoda members, mainly spider, which is included under the arachnids. And then we have book gills, mainly seen in king crab. Book gills are mainly seen in king crab. We have cloacal respiration. What do you mean by cloaca? In some of the organisms, instead of anus, they have an exterior opening called cloaca. Okay, some organisms instead of anus, they have an exterior opening called cloaca. In that region, there is a process of respiration which is mainly seen in turtles. So, there is a difference between turtle as well as a tortoise. You know that. One difference in these is the process of respiration, where turtles will have cloacal respiration and tortoise will have pulmonary respiration. So that is especially regarding to the cloacal respiration, that is mainly seen in turtles. The last is lungs or the pulmonary respiration with the human beings. We are the best example for the pulmonary respiration, or which is mainly through the lungs. So these are the respiratory organs in the different organisms. So direct MCQ can be asked based on these examples. Respiratory organ plus the examples. Next we'll move on to the human respiratory system. So in the human respiratory system, what is human respiratory system? It is consisting of various organs such as we have a lungs, we have a pharynx, we have trachea. All these are included in the human respiratory system, which is mainly divided into two regions. One is the upper respiratory tract and one more is the lower respiratory tract. So in the upper respiratory tract, there is a presence of nostrils. Okay, upper respiratory tract, there is a presence of nostrils, the external opening, as well as there is a presence of nasal cavity, and we have a pharynx, which is a common passage for food as well as air, and there is a presence of larynx. What do you mean by larynx? Larynx is nothing but a sound box. Okay, so those regions are mainly included under upper respiratory tract, whereas in the lower respiratory tract it includes a trachea, bronchi, and they are further branches. Bronchi we have primary, secondary, tertiary, respiratory. So we have further branches in the bronchi, as well as there is a last structure is nothing but alveoli. So in the last structure, alveoli, it is one of the structural as well as a functional unit of our lungs. That is specially meant for the process of respiration. Okay, that is special structure that will help in the exchange of gases. So this is regarding to the human respiratory system. So next we'll study the structure in detail with the help of diagram. Okay, so this is regarding to the human respiratory structure. Okay, so next, as I told, in the human respiratory system, it is mainly consisting of upper respiratory tract as well as lower respiratory tract. So in the upper respiratory tract, it mainly consists of nasal cavity. So there is a presence of first foremost external opening with the nostrils as well as the nasal cavities. So in the nasal cavities we have epithelial tissues. There is a presence of epithelial tissue as well as there is a presence of two types of glands. There is a serous gland as well as Bowman's gland. What are the secretions of these glands? Serous gland mainly secretes antibacterial lysozyme. Serous gland will secrete antibacterial agent lysozyme, whereas Bowman's gland secretes mucus. It is a mucus secreting. So even for the proper lubrication or to trap the dust dust particles, there is a presence of mucus in our nasal cavities. Okay. So next to the nasal cavities, we have a pharynx. Pharynx you have studied in the last chapter. It is a common passage for the food as well as the air. Okay. It is further divided into nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx. Nasopharynx is in connection with the nasal cavity, oropharynx is in connection with the esophagus, and the laryngopharynx is in connection with the larynx. Okay, it is in connection with the larynx. So this is about the pharynx. So next, regarding to the larynx. So in the case of larynx, it is mainly a cartilaginous structure. Larynx is nothing but our voice box or the sound box. It is a cartilaginous structure. It is mainly made up of around 9 cartilages. There are about 9 cartilages in our larynx or the sound box. These are divided into paired cartilage and the unpaired cartilage. You know the difference between the cartilage as well as the bone. Whereas cartilage is very flexible, we can bend it. Bone is rigid, we cannot bend it. So that is regarding to the cartilage as well as the bone. So now we have a paired cartilage in our larynx, that is arytenoid, corniculata and cuneiform. Arytenoid, corniculata as well as cuneiform, these are the 3 paired cartilages. Okay, so total 6. 3 paired in the sense total 6. Then we have an unpaired cartilage, that is thyroid. You might be knowing that thyroid and cricoid and epiglottis. You studied about the epiglottis. It is a cartilaginous flap. Okay. So we have thyroid, cricoid as well as epiglottis. Thyroid is the largest. It is the largest cartilage in the larynx. This is the largest cartilage, where in the case of male, this thyroid, it is slightly protruded and forms a structure called Adam's apple, which is mainly known as the Adam's apple. So in the male, where the thyroid will be slightly protruded and it forms the Adam's apple. So this is regarding to the 9 cartilage which is mainly found in our larynx. 3 paired or 3 unpaired. Paired includes arytenoid, cuneiform as well as corniculata. Unpaired includes thyroid, cricoid as well as epiglottis. So that is regarding to the larynx. Okay. So here you can see the structure. You can see the structure of lungs. So in the structure of human respiratory system, here it starts from the, we have shown it from the epiglottis. What is epiglottis? It is a cartilaginous flap which avoids the entry of food into the lungs. Okay, whenever we are consuming food, this epiglottis will be closed so that there is no entry of food into the lungs. Okay, so that is epiglottis. It is mainly covering glottis. Then we have a larynx, that is a sound box. So then we have a long structure called trachea. This is known to be the trachea. It is about 12 centimeter in length. Okay, in detail we'll study later. 12 centimeter length. This trachea which will divide at the 5th thoracic vertebrae region. 5th thoracic vertebrae. What do you mean by vertebrae? Vertebrae is nothing but our backbone. Vertebrae is our backbone. So we have, there is a plate-like structures. Our backbone is a plate-like structure where in between them there is also cartilage. So our backbone is divided into cervical vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae, lumbar vertebrae, coccyx as well as the sacrum. That you will study in later classes. Today, in the thoracic vertebrae, that is a vertebrae found in the chest region. Okay, back side we have a vertebrae that is found in the chest region. At the 5th thoracic vertebrae, this trachea will divide. At the 5th thoracic vertebrae, it will divide into left and right. Okay, that will be divided. Next we have a lungs. There is a presence of pair of lungs, where in the case of left lung, it is mainly consisting structure, it is bilobed, and the right lung is a trilobed structure. Bilobed as well as the trilobed structure. Now, the lungs are covered by a membrane called pleural membrane. There is a presence of a membrane in our lungs, that is the pleural membrane. In between the pleural membrane, here you can see there is a space, and that space is consisting of a fluid called pleural fluid. Pleural fluid. What is the function of this? Which will help in the process of friction, that will avoid the friction. So that is, lung is covered by a pleural membrane consisting of a fluid called pleural fluid, that is a protective fluid. Here you can see, this is the heart. There is a space for the heart in between the lungs, and this space is called mediastinum. This space is called mediastinum, which is heart is located between the lungs, and that region is known as a mediastinum. So here left as well as right. So the trachea, which will divide into left and right bronchi. Okay, so that we'll study later. Next, from the down where our we'll see the surroundings of our lungs. From down there is a structure called muscular structure called diaphragm. It is very important for the process of respiration. Without diaphragm, there is no chance of respiration. Okay, so that is diaphragm from downs, and it is surrounded by a skeletal system, and that is a rings. Okay, then it is surrounded by rings. You can see these are the cut-ends of the ribs, sides. Okay, so then it is surrounded by ribs, and in the chest region here we have a bone that is called sternum. It is sternum. Anterior sternum, sides ribs, and posterior diaphragm, as well as from the back side we have vertebral column. Back side vertebral column, front sternum, sides we have ribs, from the down we have diaphragm. So this is the surrounding of our lungs. Okay, so trachea, which is about 12 centimeter in length, it is mainly consisting of C-shaped, the ring-like structure, C-shaped ring-like structure called hyaline cartilage. It is mainly made up of hyaline cartilage. Trachea is mainly consisting of the ring-like, C-shaped ring-like structure, and this is known to be the hyaline cartilage. There are about 16 to 20 cartilaginous rings. Due to the presence of these cartilaginous rings, while consuming food will not collapse. Okay, we will not collapse while consuming food, that is mainly due to the presence of cartilage. Okay, as I told, where trachea, which will be divided into two branches, left and right bronchi. Okay, it will be divided into left and right bronchi at the position of 5th thoracic vertebra. So next, this left and right bronchi, where these bronchi, if this is the left one, they will further divided into primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi. So that is, further they will be divided into bronchioles. Okay, so they will further divide. Again, divisions will be seen. Primer, secondary, tertiary, as well as bronchioles. At the end region, there is a formation of respiratory bronchioles. We have a respiratory bronchioles. Next to the respiratory bronchioles, next structure is this, that is the alveoli. The small bag-like structure in our lungs is the alveoli. The lumen or the space go on decreasing from the primary bronchi to the particular respiratory bronchiole. The smallest space will be seen in the respiratory bronchioles. Okay, so where trachea divided into left and right bronchi, where these bronchi further divides into primary, secondary, tertiary, leads to formation of bronchioles. Further branches are seen, that is bronchioles, and at the end we have a respiratory bronchiole. that leads to formation of a bag-like structure, and that is nothing but alveoli. So alveoli is one of the very important structure. So that is the very important structure. Okay, so in the lower respiratory tract, I forgot to mention, there are two types of zones which will be divided into conducting zone. There is a presence of conducting zone as well as the respiratory zone. Conducting zone and the respiratory zone. Conducting zone means it will be conducting, it will be transporting gases. Only in the cavities, in the passages, there is a transfer of gases. That is a conducting zone. Conducting zone are nasal openings, trachea, bronchi, all those are considered to be the conducting zone. And the respiratory zone where there is an exchange. Respiratory bronchioles, alveoli, where there is a process of exchange takes place. So that's why that is going to be the respiratory zone. Okay. So next we'll see the steps in the pulmonary respiration. What are the different steps which is involved in the pulmonary respiration? First foremost step is breathing or pulmonary ventilation. Breathing, which is also known as pulmonary ventilation. What do you mean by breathing? Breathing includes two. One is inspiration and one more is expiration. Inhalation as well as exhalation. So inspiration and expiration. So that is mainly included in the breathing. What is inhaled? Oxygen is inhaled. What is exhaled? Carbon dioxide will be exhaled. So that is inhalation as well as the exhalation. Okay. So second step is the diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane. Gases will be diffused through the alveolar membrane. As I told, alveoli is a bag-like structure. It is one of the bag-like structure where it is mainly in contact with the blood vessels. So what happens? There is a diffusion of gas. Which gas will be diffused? Of course, oxygen. Whatever the oxygen we have inhaled through the nasal passage, through the trachea, through the bronchi, bronchioles, it will enter into a alveoli. From the alveoli, that will get in contact with the oxygen. You might have heard about we have a oxygenated blood as well as a deoxygenated blood. What do you mean by oxygenated blood? Blood consists of oxygen. What is deoxygenated blood? That is the blood consists of carbon dioxide. Okay. So here, in the case of diffusion, oxygen will be diffused in the alveoli and that will get in contact with the blood. So that is the second step. Next, the third step is the transport of gases. So now we have to see where the gas will be transported. So here mainly we have lungs, heart, body tissues. We mainly have three organs: lungs, the heart as well as the body tissues. So from the lungs what happens? Oxygenated blood, blood rich in oxygen, enters into which side of the heart? Do you know? It is enters into left side of the heart, atria. Okay, left atria, it will enter into it. From the heart, this oxygenated blood will transport to the body tissues. Okay, so that is the transport of gases. What happens? Gas from the lungs which will be transported to the heart and then it will be transported to the body tissue. So that is the third step. Fourth step is the diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and tissues. So as I told, it has entered into the tissues. What happens in the tissues? Tissues where oxygen will be utilized for the various processes. If our energy currency is nothing but ATP, we have an energy currency, that is a debit card. Okay, until and unless it is filled, then only we can use it. It is never a credit card. So it is a debit card. So that here what happens, if we have energy, for the utilization of energy we require oxygen. So body tissues will utilize the energy, and in the body tissues what happens is a formation of carbon dioxide. There is a formation of carbon dioxide and that carbon dioxide will be released back to the blood. That will become a deoxygenated blood. So that will become a deoxygenated blood, so that this deoxygenated blood from the body tissues will enter into the lungs, heart. From heart this will enter into the lungs. So that is diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood as well as the tissues. And the last step is utilization of oxygen by cells as well as release of carbon dioxide. In the body tissues, as I told, oxygen will be utilized and then there is a release of carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide from heart enters into the lungs and from lungs by the process of exhalation that will be released out. So now the question is, in the atmosphere, it is also there is a presence of nitrogen, there is a presence of carbon dioxide. All those gases are also present. But why we only use oxygen? Why we only use oxygen? Whether our nose is having any filter that will take only oxygen? No. We will also inhale carbon dioxide, nitrogen, everything will be inhaled. Once it reaches to the lungs, what happens? Once it reaches to the lungs, in the lungs, alveoli will diffuse only oxygen. That is the process. Other gases will be released back. So this is about the important steps. We will study these steps in detail in next classes. Steps in the pulmonary respiration includes breathing and pulmonary ventilation. It may be two processes, inspiration as well as the expiration, diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane, transport of gases, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood as well as the tissues, utilization of oxygen by cells and the release of carbon dioxide. So these are the steps in the pulmonary respiration. Okay, so that is regarding to the pulmonary respiration. Okay, for the future topics, for these explanation we require some of the small terms. Here one term is nothing but a partial pressure. So what is partial pressure? It is the pressure, okay, partial pressure, which is the pressure which is exerted by the single gas in the mixture of gases. Okay, it is the pressure which is exerted by a single gas in the mixture of gases. For example, this is partial pressure of oxygen. Okay, so it is the pressure exerted by the oxygen in the mixture of gases. We have partial pressure of oxygen in the atmosphere, partial pressure of oxygen in our lungs, partial pressure of oxygen in our tissues. Okay, then there is a partial pressure of carbon dioxide. It is the pressure exerted by the carbon dioxide in the mixture of gases. Again, we have partial pressure of carbon dioxide in atmosphere, partial pressure of carbon dioxide in lungs, partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the tissue. So these are very important concepts. So in the next classes I will give the units or the numbers. What is the concentration? So where partial pressure we can simply consider it as a concentration of a one gas. What is the concentration of one gas? So for example, in our lungs, partial pressure of oxygen will be always high. Partial pressure of oxygen will be always high. Okay, if partial pressure of oxygen is high, that will combine with the hemoglobin. For the transport of gases, we have one of the very important pigment, that is the hemoglobin. Okay, so oxygen is high in the sense there is a process of binding. If oxygen is low in the sense, that will break down. Okay, partial pressure of oxygen is high in the sense oxygen will bind with the hemoglobin. If it is less, that will break. Even same for the carbon dioxide. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide, if it is high, there is a binding with the hemoglobin. If it is low, that will detach. So that is regarding to the partial pressure. So when we look into the binding affinity, so here we have a binding affinity. There is a maximum binding affinity is seen in carbon monoxide. Okay, in our system, maximum binding affinity is seen in carbon monoxide, and the second place to the carbon dioxide, and the third place to the oxygen. This is binding of these gases with the hemoglobin. Carbon dioxide is having maximum binding affinity, or carbon dioxide is having less, oxygen is still less. Okay, so that is regarding to the concept of partial pressure.